Hi, thanks for joining me in another video. Today's EV is a highly talked about car that seems to be impressing many. With me today is the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Ioniq is Hyundai's all-electric vehicle brand. Hyundai will be introducing 3 EV models over the next 4 years, starting with the Ioniq 5. What we have today is a 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 SEL all-wheel drive, which is 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. This trim starts at around $50,000. There are 3 trims you can choose from. The SE starting at $43,650, the SEL starting at $45,900, and the Limited starting at $50,600. The range is pretty good depending on the trim. This EV gets a range between 220 miles and 303 miles depending on the battery pack and motor configuration you choose. Coming soon in spring of 2022 is the Ioniq 5 SE standard range trim, which will start at $39,700 and have a range of 220 miles. Focusing on the longer range models, the motor output on the rear-wheel drive car is 168 kilowatts. On the all-wheel drive, you get 74 kilowatts out of the front motor plus 165 kilowatts in the rear. Hyundai states that it has rapid charging going from 10% to 80% in 18 minutes with an 800-volt charger. More details on that later in the video though. Fuel economy on this lineup is looking good, getting up to 114 miles per gallon equivalent on the rear-wheel drive and 98 miles per gallon equivalent on the all-wheel drive. The Ioniq 5 presents a unique look. Design 45 pays tribute to the past with the 1974 Turn Motor Show when the 2-door coupe concept Pony was created. The 45 is characterized by the monocoque-style body. The Ioniq 5 has some interesting features, starting with the lights. These are parametric pixel LED headlights and taillights. These square lights definitely set the car apart from others. The pixel lights are a design that will continue to be incorporated in future Ioniq models. We saw this in the Hyundai Ioniq 7 concept car at the LA Auto Show last year. You can see these square accents all through the car's interior too. They're featured on the door trim, the front seats, and on the steering wheel. I'm sure there are a few that I missed, but with so many pixels, they should really allow you to play Snake on the rear tail light. There are active grille shutters to assist with aerodynamics, which open and shut when cooling isn't needed. This car has sharp lines just about everywhere. It's an incredibly angular design and it gives the car a rather aggressive look. It has flush door handles which pop out when you unlock the car or get close to it with the key fob. You can also get the door handles to pop out by touching this little square here, and you can use that same function to close them too. You can choose between the 19 and 20-inch wheels. This car has the 19-inch wheels installed. The car also has several safety features, some which come standard, like the blind spot warning, rear cross traffic collision avoidance assist, lane keeping assist, and highway driving assist 2 on the SEL and Limited trim. The trunk has a hands-free smart liftgate. It hasn't worked very well when I tried it. You're supposed to just be able to walk up to it with your smart key and it will open. Hey, it's working! There is 27.2 cubic feet of cargo space behind the second row. With the seats folded down, that brings it up to 59.3 cubic feet. There's a little bit of space underneath the floorboards here for your charging kit or other small accessories. No real frunk here, but there is a small compartment that may fit some small items. So then you have to open it up under here. And it's pretty small, I don't know what you could fit. I guess you could fit a shoe. Put my shoe in here. Actually, I take it back. You can fit both shoes. There you go. Ugh. It's probably not a good idea. Let's begin the drive. And it's not an automatic start, so when you get inside the car, it doesn't just turn on. You actually have to use a start and stop button. So you just press on the brakes, hit that button, and the car turns on, and we're ready to drive. This is the first time I don't have the seat set to the highest level. It's pretty close, but I can clearly see in front of me. I don't have any obstruction, and I'm not having to tilt my head back just to see over the car and onto the road. Hyundai did a good job insulating from the road noise and wind noise. It has double pane glass to help reduce that wind noise. This is a very quiet EV, and I like that. It doesn't have that fake engine noise either. The drive is comfortable and relaxed. Even the seats are comfy. There are 4 driving modes, and depending on the driving mode you choose will vary on how the drive feels. So if you choose sport mode, the accelerator will be more free. So you could just lightly tap an accelerator and the car will quickly move forward. If you put it on eco mode, the accelerator is a little bit more restricted. So you do have to push a little bit, give a little bit more power to accelerate forward. And then comfort is in between. There's also a 4th mode, which is snow, and we can't try that here because it doesn't snow in Phoenix. You can also adjust the settings on your brakes to be normal or sport. This car has lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control. And what this does is it keeps you in between the lanes and it keeps a safe distance between you and the other car in front of you. This is very similar to Tesla's basic autopilot. It's doing very well driving along the freeway and these curves. It should come up with a notification if you're not paying attention. One would show up that it says to keep your hands on the steering wheel. But I haven't seen it turn up recently. So I'm curious to see if it pops up in a little bit. Let me go into a little bit more detail on regenerative braking and then we can try it. Regenerative braking in every EV is different, so I've started including it as its own section when doing reviews. The Ioniq 5 has the most regen configuration options I think I've ever seen in a car before. Similar to the Audi e-tron, the car has paddle shifters, except now they've become regen paddles. Using these, you can select between 4 levels of regenerative braking to get the amount of regen you'd like. You can select from 0 to 3, 0 indicating no regen at all, and level 3 for the most regenerative braking. Pulling the left paddle will increase the level, while pulling the right paddle will decrease it. Is that backwards? Anyway, there are also some other interesting things going on here. If you pull and hold the right paddle, it'll put you into smart recuperation mode. This will automatically gauge how much regenerative braking to apply based on road grade and if you have traffic in front of you. Next, there is one pedal braking, or what they should probably call one paddle braking. This allows you to increase the braking force by holding in the left side paddle. There are other systems that are similar to this in the Chevy Bolt and Nissan Leaf as well. And lastly, my favorite, iPedal. This is basically regen level 4 and is a true one pedal drive mode, which means once you let off the accelerator, your car will come to a stop. You've got a ton of options to pick from here, which will allow you to slowly transition into the regenerative braking lifestyle if this is your first time driving an EV. So I'm currently at level 0 regenerative braking and I'm going to put it up to 3. And right when I'm pushing them up, the car is already slowing down. Now I'm going to hold down the left paddle so the car will come to a stop on its own with this paddle. So I'm pushing it down. And there we go, now we're at a complete stop. I'm going to move it up more and I'm going to put iPedal on. So iPedal is on. So now what this is going to do is when I left off the accelerator, it's going to slow down as I mentioned earlier. But what I find interesting is that it's very strong. So trying to push down on the accelerator, I have to put a lot of power into my foot just to make it move forward. And then let off. And there we go, one pedal driving, or iPedal. There is interior lighting that matches the drive modes. So right now it's light blue since we're in normal drive. And if we switch it over to a sport mode, it turns red. And if we go to eco, it turns green. The car isn't extremely fast, so you wouldn't buy it to do a drag race or anything. But it's still pretty quick. So let's do a quick acceleration test. And I currently have it on sport mode. Oh yeah, that's still pretty punchy. It's quick. On to charging. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 is built on the Electric Global Modular Platform, which as the name states, is a platform dedicated to electric vehicles. This platform allows for a large capacity battery. The Ioniq 5 has its charging port located on the rear passenger side of the car. One really cool thing about this car is it provides vehicle to load, which means that this is a bidirectional charging port. It's not powerful enough to be vehicle to grid, but it can support some small appliances, up to 1.9 kilowatts peak power. The vehicle to load comes standard with the limited trim, unfortunately not in the SEL or SE version, though you might be able to purchase the adapter for it. This car is outfitted with an 11 kilowatt onboard charger, which will fill up the longer range variant of the car in about 6 to 7 hours. This car is also able to take advantage of 800 volt DC fast charging for up to 200 to 250 kilowatts max charging rate. With the 400 volt charger, this car does max out at 150 kilowatts. This is due to it needing to step up the voltage using the car's onboard electronics. Make sure if you go to an Electrify America charger, you get on one of the ones labeled 350 kilowatts to get the fastest charging rate. In this car, we have a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack, which has a nominal voltage of 697 volts. The standard range car has a 58 kilowatt hour battery pack, and its nominal voltage is 522.7 volts. Both of these packs are made with lithium-ion polymer cells and are produced by SK Innovations. And yes, that's the same SK as in SK Hynix and SK Telecom. It makes sense that Hyundai would choose them as a battery provider since they're both based in South Korea. Interestingly, the only model which comes with a battery heater is the all-wheel drive variant. Battery heaters are very important for electric cars as they can assist in reducing quick charging times. The Ioniq 5 also comes with 2 years of unlimited 30-minute charging sessions with Electrify America. Let's go put those charging specs to the test. I was trying to drive inefficiently trying to get the charge down, so I brought it down to 52%, so I don't expect to see the full charging rate. Right now I'm going to plug into an Electrify America, which is up to 350 kilowatts. Some of these clips may appear to skip forward at times. The Electrify America screen kept timing out. It jumped up to 140 kilowatts for an instant, but it wasn't long enough for Electrify America to record it as a max charging speed on the app. And if you're curious, this is the cost of the charge in Arizona with Electrify America. When I plugged in, it started at 53 kilowatts, but as the battery started to warm up, it hit 133 kilowatts. We plugged in when the battery was cold, so the charging rate started off a little low. However, electric manufacturers can resolve this issue if they use a battery heater to heat up the battery on the way to a fast charger. In the SEL trim, the driver's seat is 8-way power adjustable. However, the passenger seat is manual. In the limited trim, the center console is able to move forward and back to bring the armrest closer to the driver and passenger. But in this one, it doesn't move. Also on the limited trim, you would have what Hyundai calls a vision sunroof, which goes all the way to the back with no obstructions. We just have a regular roof in this car though. The armrests built into the door are very flat and run the entire length of the door. That's not too common to see on cars, but it looks good here. In the front, there are two 12.3-inch digital screens. The one on the right is a touchscreen and the one on the left is just for the driver display. You get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so if you'd prefer to use that instead of Hyundai software, that's an option. You can also control some functions from your phone with Hyundai's BlueLink. You can use a navigation system to find nearby charging stations. The car also has voice commands, so let's try finding a charging station using that.
Please say a command.
Navigate me to Electrify America.
5 results found. Please say the line number.
Found a few. 1.
Would you like to set this as the destination?
Yes.
The guidance will start now.
There you go. There is wireless charging in the vehicle too, and 5 USB-A ports. There's 3 in the front and 2 in the back. The back seats are pretty roomy, and they slide forward and back. So there's a handle up here. You can slide forward and back, and they also recline. So there's a handle on the side. You can push it forward, adjust it there, and then push it back. That's pretty neat. Like all EVs, the Ioniq 5 also has a pedestrian speaker. So let's listen to the sounds of the Hyundai Ioniq 5. So let's put it in drive first. Now let's hear the reverse sound. reverse sound kind of reminds me of an elevator going different levels. When you turn off the car, it plays a little tune. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 is a nice and comfortable drive and has a very good quick charging rate. If you get a fully loaded car, the price is high, but the standard range is coming up soon, so that may be a cheaper option. However, if you're willing to spend a little more than the standard range, the SEL rear-wheel drive trim would be a good option as it gets many features and a longer range. Don't forget you can also get up to $7,500 in federal tax credits with the new Hyundai EV. Comparing the Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive to the Tesla Model Y long range and the Ford Mustang Mach-E all-wheel drive, in terms of range and fuel efficiency, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 falls in between the Mach-E and the Model Y. When it comes to price, the Ioniq 5 Limited all-wheel drive is about $5,000 cheaper than the Model Y long range, and it's also less than the Mustang Mach-E all-wheel drive premium trim. Thanks for spending time with me today. Have an EV I can review? Email me at info@kaisev.com. Make sure to subscribe for more EV content and follow me on social media at KaiseV and Kai's Tesla. Kai's my dog. And check out my website for more EV resources at kaisev.com. That's all for now, and happy charging.